Living with a disability presents numerous challenges which impact an individual's quality of life. From limited accessibility to inadequate healthcare, the obstacles can be daunting. Additionally, societal barriers such as limited accessibility, inadequate educational structures, and poverty can further exacerbate the challenges faced by people with disabilities. Adapting to life with a disability is a difficult transition, but the good news is there are ways to help cope with limitations and overcome challenges. One important aspect is to be your own advocate, educating yourself about your rights and the resources available to you. Embracing assistive devices and focusing on one's strength can also help in overcoming workplace obstacles and enjoying a fulfilling career as a person with disability. Welcome to 30 Minutes on NTA News 24. This edition is beaming its light on challenges faced by persons living with disabilities in Nigeria. I'm Lydia Sampson. The journalism profession plays a crucial role in shaping public opinion and influencing policy decisions. Ironically, some media practitioners often perpetuate negative stereotypes and stigmatizing language when reporting on disability. Our first report by Ibrahim Belogunda is bringing to the fore challenges faced by persons living with disability, the stereotypes and lack of accessibility, amongst others. Ibrahim Belogunda, please give us more details.
About 1 billion people, that is, 15% of the global population, are living with disabilities, with higher prevalence in developing countries like Nigeria. Peter Umar, a resident of Abuja, is a physically challenged man in his mid-40s. He is married with 4 children, a secondary school certificate holder who lost his leg due to an accident. His story resonates with most persons living with disabilities. He, however, sees ability in his disability. That is why transitioned by learning fashion designing to earn a livelihood and also surmount challenges. Similarly, Amina Yunusa, a physically challenged elderly woman and a mother of 4, says she engages in petty trading to contribute to her family and make meaningful changes. Their individual story is indeed inspirational to many. They, however, identified acceptability, stigmatization, and lack of support from family and society are some of the major challenges confronting people with disability in Nigeria.
There are challenges, numerous challenges. What we are facing in the society today, there are a lot of discrimination, a lot of challenges. Unlike going to office, me personally, I went to humanitarian. Last, they were doing renovation. For me to climb up 6 stories, I find it very difficult because there was a renovation going on. So after I came back, there were a lot of pain in my body. So I feel so discriminated in such a way.
Peter Umar and Amina Yunusa are considered among the lucky privileged ones, making ends meet, notwithstanding living with disabilities. Unfortunately, lots of persons living with disability are not that fortunate or independent because they rely on others for survival due to challenges occasioned by societal barriers, which include political, social, economic, and cultural challenges that impact on their quality of life.
We should be able to understand that this thing called disability is a social construct. I call it a social construct because remove barrier, there is no disability. The same thing, my brother that is not hearing, give him an interpreter. He does wonderfully, he will perform everything. Under my organization, we do train people with disabilities of different cluster on ICT. I tell you one thing, those that always come first are the visually impaired.
We need to, as much as possible, amplify the voice of inclusion, amplify the voice of persons with disability. The concept of tokenism is gone. We are no longer looking for you to give us something to survive. We want you to teach us how to fish so that we can fish for ourselves and for the generation unborn.
we are very, very uncomfortable. There's this stigma that comes in being disabled. People feel that we don't deserve to be here. People see us as taboo. But I'm glad that things are changing. I also advise that some public buildings should have a ramp, supermarkets should have a ramp. There are so many places we cannot access, and that's a very big problem.
Somebody are thinking that, okay, since I cannot work without crutches, my brain also cannot work without crutches. That is why some person, our colleague, partner will not think they would think for me because I'm using crutches. That is the biggest challenge we are facing in Nigeria.
More persons living with disabilities interviewed unanimously agree that people living with disabilities, like the deaf, dumb, blind, and crippled, among others, face enormous challenges of accessibility, quality, and affordable healthcare, among others.
When you go to hospital and you cannot pay the bill, nobody will attend to you. These are the challenges we are facing. And accessibility is one of what I have just started with.
Persons with disability are the worst off in terms of healthcare. For instance, our women suffer a whole lot. A visually impaired woman, the deaf woman who is pregnant and can't even afford to eat. Not talk of hiring an interpreter, because without interpreter, you can't communicate with her. So in the absence of interpreter, our women who are pregnant, most of them have stillbirth, high child mortality rate. Why? Because of lack of health care.
Speaking further on more barriers such as inadequate educational structure, poverty, unemployment, even when they are qualified, they say is leading many among them to depression.
When I say acceptability, it is not peripheral acceptability. Peripheral in the sense that, yes, in a civilized world now, you cannot see a blind person and tell him to walk away because he's blind. No. But when you see a blind person coming for the job in your place, what do you see? What you see is the eyes that is closed. You do not see the intellect. You do not see, you don't even care. It's okay, how are you? What did you study? No. Whatever he studied is inconsequential. Whatever he have or she has upstairs is inconsequential. That is the acceptability that is lacking. When you see somebody on a wheelchair, you assess him based on that chair, right? So the mentality of an average Nigerian is that his brain is sitting, his intellect is sitting, But you forgot that the brain works faster than the legs. So that is the low level. There is this lack of political will also. In fact, some of the political parties, when they see people with disabilities, they look at them as destitutes that are not needed in the political, activities and, association and assimilation. So for them, bring out, do you have a leader? Or bring him once in a while. When we have a meeting, we will call him, he will report to you what we are doing. It's in a very dehumanizing manner.
We are able to serve. Our brain is not dead. I mean, I have a master's degree. I'm on a wheelchair. I take my father for, enabling me, giving me the support. A lot of us are very, very brilliant people. Because we are disabled does not mean that we are disabled upstairs. No, we are not. We have a physical disability. Doesn't mean that we cannot serve. We are able to serve.
We are already fighting to make sure that all the program of Nigeria, the person with disability is part of it, so that there is a full inclusion of person with disability in all the aspects of the Nigerian government. Our theme for this year is to call the attention of all individuals to make sure that let us come together. Let us put every aspect of the work we are doing, let's be sure that the person with disability is part of it. The person with disability needs to be part of everything. We don't want to be represented by our colleague person with a non-disability.
Unity and connecting it to XDG, and of course saying that it's for persons with persons and by persons with disability. Very apt. To me, that's a a diplomatic but developmental summary of inclusion. That's what inclusion is all about. 17 goals of the SDG, virtually all of them speaks to disability. And I think we need to be acquainted with the SDG.
Studies by the Commonwealth Fund shows that people living with disabilities, especially in developing countries, are bedeviled with compounded challenges, especially difficulties accessing physical environment, transportation, prejudice, stigma, restricted access to employment and services, as well as non-adopted means of communication, lack of availability of assistive devices and technologies. Changing the narrative to mitigate or outrightly end man-made barriers limiting persons living with disabilities, experts insist, must be seen as a clarion call for all. This, they reiterate, is the only way to harness the neglected talent and the persons living with disabilities to truly show that there is ability in disability.
Thank you, Ibrahim Belugunda. Moving on now, beyond identifying and talking about challenges, what solutions can be proffered to change the narrative and help persons living with disabilities enjoy a stress-free and fulfilled life? What ways can they adapt to cope with limitations and overcome challenges? Thomas Egbetere has more.
People with disabilities are constantly facing myriad of challenges and limitations. These majorly are issues around accessibility, social stigmatization, inadequate support systems, which often hinder and limits full participation of persons with disability in society. Some of these challenges, according to experts, include stereotypes limiting their employment opportunities and inability to navigate public spaces due to physical barriers.
A lot of them are employable because a lot of them have gone to schools. They can teach. Some of them can serve as secretaries. If you sit down and interact with most of them and you hear the language they speak, some of them they speak good English. Some of them are good in Hausa. We can use them as interpreters. They can teach Hausa in schools, Hausa language in schools. Some of them are good in Yoruba, Igbo, different languages.
Persons with disabilities, we have a lot of challenges. Challenges like majorly navigating our day-to-day activities. When you need to come out, you need to go out and move around. The majority of the roads are not accessible. The vehicles are not accessible. So it's a very big challenge, and it has actually contributed to a lot of burden to persons with disabilities, because a lot of us had to now pay through our nose in order for us to, afford going out, because the cheapest means of transportation, we can't just afford it, because the reason is that we can only make use of the expensive means of transportation, maybe using only taxis, and that's the only way you'll be able to go out, as a person with physical disability. But there's other aspects of this, because disability is of different forms. Like the issue of access to road, that challenge is both the person with physical disabilities and the blind people. Because if a blind person needs to go out, you need to actually go out with one more person.
I don't know if you have seen a person with albinism with skin cancer. It's completely out of this world. I am a skin cancer survivor. So it doesn't come cheap. There's no full-blown melanoma, which is the type of skin cancer that is really deadly. There's no full-blown skin cancer that will cost you anything less than $5 million, 5 million naira upward. So it was just too expensive and affordable for the community. So former President Obasanjo approved that they should be treated for free. We're grateful that today he's the life patron of the foundation. He's still the life patron. Okay, so he gave that approval, and they started the treatment. It was in trickles. Then the administration of Yaradua continued the treatment. The administration of Goodluck Jonathan expanded the treatment, and the Buhari administration inherited it and dropped it. We did everything possible. It was never revisited.
Experts are, however, unanimous that coping with these limitations involve fostering resilience and embracing adaptive strategies. They added that support network must continue to play a crucial role in addition to self-advocacy, as persons with disabilities can empower themselves by understanding their rights, articulating their needs, and actively participating in decision-making. They also reiterate that being their own advocates enables them break down barriers and promote inclusivity.
The beneficiaries of the law, if they are not aware of the law, they will find it difficult making demands for the law, for the right, for their rights. So I think within us, with the help of some donors, we've been creating awareness. We've been creating a lot of awareness, even with my own platform for Qualitative Magazine. Is dedicated for persons with disabilities, and a lot of persons with disabilities have been able to subscribe to it, and we create awareness. And what NTA is also doing now is also part of the awareness creation that we are doing. So we are trying to make ourselves available to talk to our people, and that was exactly why when I was called for this interview, I have to leave every other thing I'm doing to participate. To know it's also a way of reaching out, not just only to the general public, but also to persons with disabilities, so that they can begin to know that they have rights, and they have to demand for that right. Because if you don't demand for that right, you will not enjoy that right.
No matter how smart you think you are, no matter how brilliant you think you are, you may be in the State House, you can never tell our story like us. So don't make policies without us. Don't make intervention without us. Don't speak about us without us, because you don't know more than we do about the community of persons with disability. Bring us to the table and allow us to take our own destiny by our own hands.
Every program we are doing, we focus on them, we try to create awareness, and we make sure they are part of us. And like I said, United Nations, they are not leaving them behind. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals, they are included. The Sendai Framework, they are also carried along. They are involved at all levels of planning. And that is why the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction of 2023, the theme was Fighting Inequality for a Resilient Future.
The need for sustaining advocacy groups, experts insist, is sacrosanct as a panacea to empowering individual persons with disabilities to navigate societal structures effectively. This awareness, according to experts, will help escalate their ability to demand equal opportunities and challenge discrimination. They noted that although embracing assistive devices is instrumental in overcoming workplace obstacles, focusing on their strengths, individuals with disabilities can contribute meaningfully to their profession, workplace, and accommodations. To this effect, they are calling for deliberate policies and efforts to give them opportunities to maximize their potentials through inclusive policies, recognizing diverse abilities and fostering an environment where everyone can thrive in their chosen careers.
Because some institutions come up with policies that those policies are not friendly to persons with disabilities. You look at some like if you look at the paramilitary, they will tell you when they want to advertise for employment, they will tell you that they will list some forms of disability and tell them not to apply. So what it means is just a policy that is actually discriminatory to a lot of persons with disabilities. So if somebody is deaf, that does not mean that the person cannot be able to serve as a road safety official.
People with disability can be useful to themselves, they can be useful to their communities, they can be useful to citizens of Nigeria one way or the other. They can be employed anywhere. All you need to do is make sure you build your capacity. If you have nobody to train you, approach any NGO, go to any government organization, go to any government school and tell them you want to enroll, you want to, if it is a vocational center, go into that vocational center. Tell them you wouldn't want anybody to deprive you of your rights.
They re-echoed the need to mitigate every form of discrimination and embrace inclusivity and collaboration across various sectors, including health, education, social protection, labor, transport, and housing. A holistic approach, according to those who spoke with 30 Minutes on NTA News 24. Individuals with disabilities must receive comprehensive support, ranging from accessible healthcare to inclusive education and barrier-free public infrastructure. They are emphatic that implementing recommendations for actions in public buildings to improve accessibility and incorporating universal design principles. Experts emphasize are measures that will enhance inclusion and create more accommodating environment for people with disabilities.
I know many mothers who are top brass in the society. They are up there. They are upper class. But they have children without disability. They are not confident enough to say it to the public. And many of them that are hiding that, you understand? So I say to you, you don't need to hide anything. Who knows? That person you're hiding may turn around tomorrow and become the president of this country.
Children with autism. There are schools for that now. In FCT, we have well over 20 schools where we get children with autism. We have them. Those parents that hide their children is because they are not aware.
They call for deepening of public and societal support for individuals with disabilities to enable them lead fulfilling lives, stressing that society can contribute by fostering an inclusive culture, promoting equal opportunities, by challenging stereotypes. They urge the present administration to introduce free health services to people with disabilities, including those with albinism who are prone to cancer.
Let me use this opportunity to call on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You have started by touching the lives of persons with disability. You have given us a special assistant for persons with disability. But now, if you truly want to make an impact, sir, reinstate the free treatment of skin cancer amongst persons with albinism. The National Hospital started it. Once you give the instruction, they can continue.
Everybody is encouraged to reach out to people with disability in any kind of situation, especially when it has to do with a disaster. Reach out to them, hold the hand of that blind man, help him out. People on wheelchairs, people who cannot move. There are people that are crippled that don't have the opportunity of having a wheelchair. Try to see if you can lift them. If you have 2 or 3 people, reach out to them.
Addressing challenges faced by persons with disability, they acknowledge, requires a multifaceted approach, encompassing legal awareness, societal collaboration, and a commitment to inclusivity across the value chains. This, they emphasized, can be done working together and promoting advocacy. They also called on government at all levels to create an environment where everyone, regardless of physical challenges, can lead a stress-free and fruitful life.
Indeed, journalists and other communicators and society at large must refer to people with disabilities in a respectful and accurate manner. Additionally, it is important to reporters to seek out people that are actually disabled as sources to include their perspectives in reporting. By empowering disabled individuals to share their stories and experiences, journalism can help break down barriers and promote a more inclusive society. Though living with disability comes with its own set of challenges, key players are optimistic that with the right support, resources and advocacy, individuals with disabilities can overcome obstacles and lead fulfilling lives. That's it on 30 Minutes today. Thanks for watching. I'm Lydia Sampson. Next week, we'll be back with another edition.